and to read a little bit. And then I'm going to take some of my old clothes and sell them at Buffalo Exchange. I've also come to the realization that low-rise pants are just not for me. And I've just gotta accept that, no matter how cute they are. I thrifted a pair of bedazzled low-rise pants the other day, and I am, with a very heavy heart, selling them today because I cannot for the life of me walk out of the house with them on. So that's where I'm at. It's trash. So I got $12 for one garment. They didn't take anything else. And the other place that I wanted to go to stops buying clothes at 1, I believe, so I was a little too late to go there, so I'm gonna go there another day. But for the one garment that I got, I'm gonna use that money to buy Mama a steak.
Hey, easy, Pops.
Just keep tighter. It's from my finger.
In that case, I hate it. So corny.
Oh. It's classic. Listen. This was...
Don't disappoint us. And by us, I mean you and me. That pizza will be fantastic for breakfast.
Unpopular opinion, but I love Big. I do. I love him.
Actually makes these relationship things work, do they?
Sure, I think they're the same people who leave New York.
I'm just really surprised Big is moving. I always thought...
Never mind. You always thought what? Never mind.
To burn always with this hard, gem-like flame, to maintain this ecstasy, is success in life. While all melts under our feet, we may well grasp at any exquisite passion or any contribution to knowledge that seems by a lifted horizon to set the spirit free for a moment, or any stirring of the senses, strange dyes, strange colors, and curious odors, or work of the artist's hands, or the face of one's friend. Not to discriminate every moment some passionate attitude in those about us, and in the very brilliancy of their gifts, some tragic dividing of forces on their ways, is, on this short day of frost and sun, to sleep before evening. What we have to do is to be forever curiously testing new opinions and courting new impressions. Not the fruit of experience, but experience itself is the end. Great passions may give us this quickened sense of life, ecstasy, and sorrow of love, the various forms of enthusiastic activity. Only be sure it is passion. For art comes to you proposing frankly to give nothing but the highest quality to your moments as they pass, and simply for those moments' sake. What I was reading in the shop and what I'm reading to you guys now, little excerpts from, is from The Conclusion by Walter Pater. And Walter Pater, this conclusion was the end of his analysis of Renaissance art. And this is a very important piece of literature to read because it is what defined the 1890s and what would define attitudes of the aesthetic movement, as well as my attitudes on sensualism and how I like to live my life. If you've ever seen any of my videos on sensualism, then you'll know the quote that I often include is, if man has not gone through his day without some fine emotion, then he has wasted his day, whatever he has gained of it. And that mentality comes from this piece of literature, this conclusion from Walter Pater. And it defined that entire generation. It encouraged people to hedonism. It encouraged people to look at their life differently and to repurpose themselves, to redefine what a well-lived life is, and to go against the bourgeoisie. And while many people think it's just about art not having any morality and that it's an advocation for you to just be a hedonist, to do whatever you please, and while a portion of that is true, I think Holbrook Jackson said it well when he said that it was not just art for art's sake, but art for life's sake. Because as Pater says here at the very end of the conclusion, that art comes to you proposing frankly to give nothing but the highest quality to your moments as they pass. Art is the crowning jewel of human intelligence, and being able to have good taste and a fine sensibility, that is a way in which you can enjoy the world and that many other people cannot enjoy the world. It's being able to do so much with very little. And this is why I don't want people to think that aestheticism is elitist in any way, because elitist implies money, luxury. And while I would say that elitist it is when it comes to very few people understanding what it means, very few people understanding what a good work of art is. There's a reason why certain people just have good taste and some people just don't. And why most people are not going to give you the time of day because they don't feel you have merit. It's not elitist in the way that if you don't have a lot of money in the bank that you can't live sensually, that you can't live aesthetically, that you can't live for art and beauty at every moment of your life. It's about, I think, being smart and taking risks all the time and definitely changing your priorities and asking yourself what you're going to live by and what you're going to die by. So I just thought that was I think it's important to go over, these things, because these couple of stanzas here are the reason why a whole group of people revolutionized the way that they decided to live. But yeah, I printed that out because I can't read on screens to save my life, but I printed that out and I wanted to study it and take a look at it. Walter Pater and his observations on Renaissance art are important to know about. Walter Pater is extremely important in the fact that he was very influential to people that have influenced me and therefore will influence you. What I talk about on this channel when it comes to lifestyle is literally derived from these few paragraphs. Aestheticism is older than this, but art for art's sake, art for life's sake, all that, it was very, very important it was extremely influential for the 1890s specifically, that decade. But Walter Pater, as well as the painter Whistler is actually the person who coined the mantra art for art's sake, because Whistler was demanding a lot of money, too much money maybe, someone would say, for a painting that looked like it took he said in court that it only took maybe a day or two to paint. And he was going against a group of people who believed in Ruskin's idea that art had to have moral content and that it had to have extreme amounts of craftsmanship and time and effort, and that should be shown in the work. And while Whistler's work was profound, it didn't take him a long time to create those works. And he said that his work was a product of a lifetime of practice and observation that came before. And that even if it did take an hour to create one of his, let's say, his nocturnes, it didn't matter, because the nocturne was beautiful in itself and what you saw and how it taught you to see something, how it taught you to... Whistler's gift was particularly that he taught you how to look at an object, an everyday plain object or a phenomenon or an event, and he taught you how to look at it through the eyes of an artist. That was his talent. And that the work of art can be beautiful because of the collection of colors, and that beauty, and I don't know, I haven't read enough to know if anybody else has said this, but I would say that beauty is very much like nature, even though beauty can be artificial, completely artificial, on the opposite end of nature. Beauty is like nature in the fact that it just is. And Whistler's work simply is beautiful. It doesn't need to have some allegorical undertone. It doesn't have to even be teaching a moral lesson. The art can simply be beautiful, and it has to be, at some point, looked at in a removed way in order to purely enjoy it. And maybe you can put an art piece into a room, and you walk into that room and you set all of your prejudices, all of your morality aside, and you can sit in that room and say, I enjoy this work of art, it's beautiful. And then you can step out of that room and you can continue being who you are in a moral society. But that's essentially what Whistler was trying to say, and then what the aesthetic movement was trying to say, which led a lot of people to believe that if art and beauty gives you absolute reins to do just about anything, because there is no moral content, then let's party it up. Let's do crazy things for the sake of doing crazy things. Tease beauty out of every aspect of life, and let's not have our worldly human expectations and downfalls make it difficult for us to come into contact with beautiful things, because beauty isn't always moral. Because at a certain point, you have to leave your humanity behind. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. Let me know if that made any sense, but yeah, I just made it a point to read that and, of course, share that with you guys. Cool stuff. It's a great conversation to have, if you're ever having it.